Good morning. I'm Peter Blood, and I'm going to spend some time this morning talking about a wonderful way you can learn songs and eventually also get into learning about a lot of other musicians. It's something that we have on our website called the Music Box, and it's an online song and artist database. It's very easy to use. And what I'm going to talk about this morning is using it to do song searches. So you can find out tunes to songs and lots of other information about them, including who wrote them and who recorded them. So I'm going to start by seizing the screen here. And actually, I'd like to start at the regular opening page to our website. So this is what it looks like if you enter our website. Our website is riseupandsing.org. riseupandsing.org. And if you've bought any of our songbooks or anything, then you probably already know how to get there. But our site can be a little hard to negotiate. And there's two ways you can get into song searches. There's a very simple way, which is to go, it's kind of like a shortcut. You can go up to the URL and you can just add the letters SS for song search. So if you do SS and then just click enter, you're on a page that looks like this. It says song list search. And this is what we're going to be working with today. If you don't remember that little shortcut of putting SS up there, I'll show you how you can go without using that shortcut. Just go to the choice of songs. It's a pull down menu, and there's lots of choices. And the second list on the choice on the list is song search. If you click on that, it'll take you to the same place. Also, if you go to the Music Box page, there's a direct link to the song list, the song search as well. So what are you going to use this for? The simplest thing to do is to enter the name of the song. You don't have to type in the whole name. If you do parts of the name, that will work. Let's assume we want to find the Beatles song, Let It Be. So let's type in Let It Be. If you're doing too few words, you'll get like 100 different choices. That won't work. If you do too many, you might spell something differently or make a typo. Let's try looking for Let It Be, and then you can do either return or click search. Well, this actually gave us quite a few choices. It turns out there's two songs called Let It Be. One is by Paul McCartney. It says Beatles there. And the other one is by Malvina Reynolds. But we're looking for the one called Let It Be by the Beatles. You can see this is a kind of a loose search. It included some things that really aren't just Let It Be. I don't know why it said Left My Voice. Maybe that's in one of the lines of the song. And here's some that have let in it. But let's go to Let It Be Beatles. See what we find. Well, the first thing you can see is it tells you where to find it in our songbooks. There's lots of songs, probably a couple thousand now, that are not in our songbooks, but there's over 2,500 songs that are in our songbooks. And this says it's in Rise Up Singing in the Hope chapter on page 117. And you could actually see the whole Hope chapter in Rise Up Singing here by clicking on that. This is all the songs in the Hope chapter. It's a pretty long chapter of Rise Up Singing. And so if you wanted to get to that chapter, if you remember any song that is in Rise Up Singing, in that chapter, it'll show you the whole chapter like that. But let's go back to the page we were looking at. The next thing you can see is as the first line of the song. That might help you to figure out if you found the wrong song. It says here it's composed by Paul McCartney and it's performed by the Beatles. And this is, I think people like the most. Then you can see 1, 2, 3, you can see 9 different recordings of the song. There's the original Beatles album there on an album called Let It Be. I think it might be their last album. Paul McCartney is singing it solo here at a concert. The Glee TV show cast is singing it. This is from the wonderful movie Across the Universe that sings a bunch of Beatles songs. If you have never seen that movie, you should check that out. Joan Baez recorded it, John Legend, Billy Joel, some different people. It looks like Paul McCartney and James Corden are singing it together as they ride around in James' car. Anyway, there's somebody else. Vasquez Sounds is a cute video. And if you go underneath the song, you can see that it's in a movie and also in a TV show. And it tells you a little bit about the song at the bottom. That it was written by Paul McCartney, even though it's credited to Lennon McCartney. Tells a little bit about how he wrote it and why, and how it first appeared on a single and then an album. And it won't always have all this kind of information, but sometimes it will. And this is really important. If the song is in Wikipedia, unless we somehow missed it, you can click on the Wikipedia entry. And this shows us many different, that was a kind of mistake. It should have gone to this one, Let It Be the Song. So I can correct that. But anyway, that's a good link to show you how to find a lot more information about especially well-known songs, obviously. So let's go back to where our song search was. And one thing that you can do, actually that when you open that other page, it usually takes you off the page, which is nice. You don't have to, you can just close that new thing to open. So we were in this page for Let It Be. Let's go back to the song search page. You can see song search is right over here. So a really quick way to go back to the song search page would be to go to this column and just click back on song search. Okay, so that was looking up one song. It doesn't have to be the first few words of the song. Let's think of a long song. Annie has recorded a song called Don't Ever Let Nobody Drag Your Spirit Down. So let's just see if we could only remember the words let nobody and see if that's going to work. And look, it did work. It's the Freedom song, Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around, and then this long kind of complicated title. If you try to type it in, it might not quite work. So Let Nobody gave us that Eric Bibb song. And let me just see one more. How about a really well-known song, If I Had a Hammer? Now, if you had sometimes you can find songs by putting them up here, where it said Let Nobody there. But if you did If I Had a Hammer, you might come up with our songbook in this general search or other kind of things like record maybe called If I Had a Hammer. But if it's right here in the song search, or the title search rather, on the song search page, I think we'll only get the song. Yeah, If I Had a Hammer is what we were looking for, and El Martillo is actually a Spanish translation of the song If I Had a Hammer. Let's go back to If I Had a Hammer and look at it again. Let's just say you wanted to find, this is a bad link, probably Sam Cooke's estate may have said they want to put up a different version. R.L. Guthrie's probably the same. So if you notice these kind of things and can send us an email, we will fix them because there's almost always replacements for those. It's just any video links on YouTube sometimes go stale. But let me just show you something interesting here. If you try to search up in the upper right corner for Pete Seeger, it won't work because there's way too much on our website about Pete Seeger. But where it says composed by there, Lee Hayes or Pete Seeger, if you wanted to get quickly to learn a lot about Pete Seeger and some of the stuff he's recorded, if you enter any song of his in the song search, then you can click on Pete Seeger and bingo, you not only find out a lot of stuff about him, but you'll see that he was in the Almanac Singers and the Weavers, and he has tons, looks like maybe about 60 or 70, maybe 50 at least, songs composed in the music box, most of which are in our books. And also he has even more, maybe 100 songs that he's recorded in the system there. So that's a really nice, easy, quick way to get to Pete Seeger. I'm going to show you one more thing. If I Had a Hammer here is in the struggle chapter of Rise Up Singing. Let's just say you wanted to look for some more songs about the struggle. You could have clicked on struggle up here, but at the bottom of the page, it's kind of a long page, you can see a thing that says previous and next. What that refers to is this is the previous song in the chapters of struggle in Rise Up Singing, which is a High song called I Una Mujer. And if you go forward, you get back to If I Had a Hammer, But if you wanted to go forward even more, you would go to It Could Have Been Me, which ironically is another Holly Near song. So you could keep going. Kevin Barry comes after that. So you can see, oh, look at that. All the things went bad in there, but I'll have to go and put some new things up for the Clancy Brothers and the Wolf Tones and Leonard Cohen to that song for Kevin Barry. So that will show you how we did use the page. I'm just going to show you a few more things. If you want to just click on the songbook, only Rise Up and Rise Again are in here for kind of technical reasons. But if you just click to search for that, you get way too much material because there's 1,200 songs in each of these books. But you can combine a songbook search with something else. Let's just say you want to find all the Spanish language songs in the book. So there'll be quite a few. That's interesting. Why is Spanish? Oh, it's down here. Spain. Spanish, there it is. You don't want to Spain. Spain and Spanish are a bit different. We're going to look for Spanish and we can click search. And you'll see there's a lot of songs in Spanish in 2 books. And since we didn't specify which book, we're getting a mixture of Rise Again, Rise Up Singing, Rise Up Singing, Rise Again, Rise Again, Rise Again, Rise Up Singing. So you can see it's got a really long list. But let's just say you only are going to be using Rise Up Singing today. So we can specify Rise Up Singing in Spanish and do a search. And now we only have the Spanish language songs in Rise Up Singing. And you can see that's a much shorter list. There's only about maybe a dozen or so Spanish songs in Rise Up Singing, and there's more actually in Rise Again because we got some Spanish-speaking experts to help us with Rise Again that way. Let's try a different search. Let's take off the culture search so we don't duplicate searches in here, any book. Let's just say, now if you did a certain genre, there would be like, if you use the genre traditional folk, let's say traditional children's songs or traditional English, there'd be an awful lot of responses. But let's just say we want to choose a little bit less common genre, song genre, like blues. Now, it turns out there's not a ton of blues songs in Rise Up Singing, but let's just see what there are. There, yeah, that was more than I thought. Looks like there's about 20 blues songs in Rise Up Singing. A lot of them are in the Hard Times and Blues chapters, not surprisingly. But a few are not. There's one in City there. There's one in Gospel. There's one in Good Times. So you can have more than one genre for the same song. Let's just try maybe Black Gospel. Let's see what comes up with that. There's only 5 in Rise Up Singing. Let's try Rise Again. Oh, it's quite a bit longer list, about twice as many, because one of our neighbors sings in an African-American gospel choir, so she had some good suggestions for that. So you can see by specifying different searches, this is, you wouldn't usually combine a title with any of these other things because you just want to have the title alone if you're searching by title. But if you're getting by culture or musical genre or even show, you may want to combine things. Let's try using the show thing as a final step. These bottom 3, culture, genre, and show, are pull down menus. So you have to hit that little thing there. So let's just say we want to find out all the songs from, say, the musical Oklahoma. Okay, that's a pretty well-known musical. Let's see what we find. We're not going to specify Rise Again. We're going to specify both books. And you can see there's actually only 5 songs from Oklahoma in the songbook. We'll try one other musical. My Fair Lady, that might have some. There's 4 of those. And just to remind you, if you wanted to check out the musicals chapter in Rise Again, you could click on that musicals right there. Now you'll see all the songs, looks like about 20 songs or so in the musical chapter of Rise Again. So I hope this is helpful. I hope I didn't go too fast. I know people often do go quickly. I want to remind you that it is possible to do searches up here if you don't want to go to the song search page, but it will more likely give you problems if you can't guess the exact title. I happened to look for a song called If I Had a Boat yesterday. It's a Lyle Lovett song. And I think this one is probably going to work just because it's a pretty simple title. And I have to know that I got the title exactly right. Let's see if we can get it that way. Now, that is actually the song we were looking for. So you'll see that sometimes it'll work. But if you do either a common term like let it be might give you too much. If I had a hammer would certainly give you too much. If you choose something like blackbird, I don't think that's going to work. So anything that's kind of likely to pop up in different places, you'll definitely do better to use the specific song search. But if you're pretty sure of the title, you want to not bother with going to the song search page. Sometimes that general search box will work. So I will put some information about how to do this on our website with some instructions and a link to this video. And let me say goodbye to you. Hope that was interesting. There's a whole other wealth of information under the artist search. And another day I will do you a video on the artist search. And please let me know if I spoke clearly enough and slowly enough that you could follow what I was doing. And if I messed it up and it was hard to follow, I will get Annie to coach me how to do it better. Or maybe I'll get her to do it, right? All right. Bye-bye for now. And we hope to see you soon. And we hope you enjoy using our online database, the Music Box, in the future. Bye-bye.